type team. Here's a shot into left. That's pounded and gone. Home run. Roberto Perez. That ball was scorched. High fly ball into left. At the wall. Goodbye. 6-0 Indians.
Cubs Postseason Love, presented by Fields Auto Group.
After dropping Game 1 of the World Series, the Cubs will try to head home to Chicago with the Fall Classic knotted up at 1 apiece. They battle the Cleveland Indians at Progressive Field tonight. Jake Arrieta gets the start for the Northsiders. He'll be opposed by Trevor Bauer. First pitch comes your way little after 6 o'clock. We'll get you ready for all the action over the next 60 minutes. Welcome into Cubs Postseason Live, brought to you by our great partners at the Fields Auto Group. I'm David Kaplan. He's Todd Hollandsworth. He is the Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. All right, tough day for the Cubs last night. They did not have their offense in gear. John Lester, a little spotty. In fact, tweeted out today, hey, that's on me. I didn't have good command. And the Indians able to walk away with a 6-0 victory.
Well, it kind of gets back to what the Indians have done all postseason long, maybe their script. We talk about that an awful lot, how a team wins and what their style is. And you look at the Cleveland Indians, it has been their story. A little bit of offense early in the ballgame, get a couple of early runs. Kluber on the mound, great to see. The Cubs I really believe they're going to put together good at-bats against him the next time that they see him. I felt like the at-bats got a little bit better as the game went on. Not enough early, but again, they got the ball to Miller, they got the ball to Allen at the end. That is their formula.
Rhino, your thoughts, takeaway now, 24 hours almost later.
Yeah, I agree with the Cleveland pitching staff. With Kluber and Miller, that's what they do. They did it very well last night. They set the tone. They did keep the bats cold, and the offense for the Indians were able to put together some innings and some crooked numbers up there. So that was a winning combination for the Indians. I see the Cubs tonight in a bounce-back game. With Jake Arrieta on the mound, setting the tone, and this is his game to show up and to play a big part in getting back to Chicago 1-1. The bats, mainly at the top of the order, I think, setting the tone early base runners, put pressure with some numbers of our own up on the board for the Cubs and for Jake, and I think that's what the Cubs need.
All right, you will have a chance to get interactive with our show as always in just a few minutes. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. There's no special app, there's no cost to you, and you'll see the votes as they tally right on your screen. Again, csnchicago.com/vote. Let's talk about Corey Kluber from last night. He's slotted now into Game 4 and potentially could come back at short rest in a Game 7. Kluber was magnificent last night, and as I watched rerun this morning of all the ability to run that cutter back, throw it at the hip of a left-handed hitter, and then run it back in on the inside corner, it's really tough pitch.
Yeah, well, that's the two-seamer and the cutter that was working both last night. I mean, again, like I said, I thought the at-bats got a little bit better the second time. To remember, in the first 3 innings, first go through the middle, through the Cubs lineup, and then back to the top, 8 strikeouts. I mean, that was dominant stuff. And I really thought that the Cubs came out and tried to execute that aggressiveness early in the game. Didn't work. With that being said, I'm really hopeful that the next time they see him, they learn from what they saw and they make the adjustments, because they're going to potentially see him 2 more times in this series. Let's hope only 1 more time, but potentially 2. But to your point, outstanding last night. He did. He had his fastball really working, and he was willing to throw that slider a lot.
How do you handle a pitch that looks like it's coming at you? Chris Bryant was halfway down at first when they rang him up, and then it runs right back in, clips the corner.
I think, first of all, you experience it, and that's what we've talked about, and Holly mentioned it
like
last
Kershaw
night.
in Game 2.
Just like that. You face it, you see it, you see what it looks like. You store that back in your memory when you face him again, and being right around the corner in Game 4, I think that will be very fresh in the hitters' minds. But I think you have to be at home plate and see it. Scouting reports, videotape doesn't do justice as standing there right in the batter's box, seeing that. And this team, I've been impressed, the Cubs, with their coaching staff and the ability of the hitters to make adjustments pitcher to pitcher as the season, during the regular season. I thought they were very good making those adjustments, like Kershaw. So I would bet that the Cubs would come out and have a different game plan, have better looks, better swings, better contact the next time they see Kluber.
All right, your guys' thoughts on John Lester? He was today saying, look, that's on me. I didn't have good command. I was nibbling, did not get the corners. He was off the corner, wasn't getting some calls, but he did not pitch well. What's your take on John last night?
Yeah, if that's him not pitching well, I'll certainly take it, and I think that's probably the best way to sum it up. He pitched from behind. Gave up a couple early runs, but he kept him in the ball game, and I'm certainly going to give him credit for that. A lot of guys, they don't have their stuff, and it's over quick. We'll watch a guy get blown up, not particularly this rotation, but in general, when you talk about pitching, a lot of times it goes way south. He worked around his struggles and his inability to really own the corners. You're right. He didn't. He was missing up with some pitches. He was missing off the plate. There was clearly a lot of frustration out there last night. But again, John Lester has been so good all season long. Hard for me not to believe he will bounce back from the start, that we will see the John Lester that we've seen all season long back at Wrigley Field.
It was interesting to watch. That was a 6-0 game, and if you just picked up the paper and went, the Cubs got ripped. That was a close ball game until the home run late.
Thanks to John Lester.
Correct.
And you know what? He did do a good job, but that's an ace speaking and saying that. The 2 runs, we're talking a swinging bunt,
right,
which could have very easily been a weak ground ball to third out of the inning, a hits batsman. That was the damage. That was the 2 runs. He did allow the 2 walks, which I know that he was not happy about in the first inning. Walks seem to score some way at the major league level. But then he pitched very well in the solo home run. It was a close game. And the Cubs had the bases loaded when the game was still 3-0, with a chance to put 1 up there.
Could have gone a lot of different
2,
ways, right?
3, take the lead.
Right.
John Lester,
you had to go ahead and run at the plate.
As an ace, pitched well enough to kept the bats and gave them a chance, even in the middle and the end of the game.
And I like the fact that he came out today, went on Twitter, told the media, that's on me. That's what aces do. They assume the mantle of responsibility.
And he expects to be the best and to give his team a chance to win. In my point, he did that in some regards. Unfortunate with the swinging bunt.
All right, Cubs 1 for 11 with men in scoring position yesterday. Just could not get anything going, could not get, as you like to call it, a big hit in a big spot.
Yeah, well, this team has been collective all season, Cappy. I've told you. When they're bad, they're bad. When they're good, they're good. And a lot of times they've been really good this year. Again, we've referenced so many different times this year. We've watched them make adjustments to Rhino's point about, hey, they'll see a pitcher again for the second time, and collectively, the at-bats all of a sudden will get better. We had a nice ball game from Ben Zobrist, and a couple other guys had some hits, and there's some things that you could see there. But you're right. It was all about giving yourself an opportunity to get back into a ball game. They did give themselves enough opportunities to get back into this ball game. They didn't execute. We talked about that an awful lot. It's been an issue. There's some at-bats there where some sliders got away. Guys expanded their strike zone. So I do blame the youth a lot of times when it comes to that. As you get a little bit older, you get a little bit more comfortable in those situations. But in the World Series, you got to be on your game.
All right, let's go back inside Progressive Field. Our Kelly Crow has her Coors Light game report. Kelly?
Well, thanks, Cap. Unreal. That's the word I kept hearing over and over again in response to Kyle Schwarber's return. And really, it was. The slugger didn't miss a beat in his first game back since April. Now, he told us he saw over 1,300 pitches from a pitching machine in Arizona that he had set on the nastiest setting. But even that can't replicate Corey Kluber and Andrew Miller, who, of course, Kluber, he almost takes deep, a double. And then Andrew Miller draws a walk from, which he took away up as a very positive thing, feeling comfortable in the box against 2 premier arms. And yet what everybody else took away is that Kyle Schwarber is just a freak of nature.
It gave me definitely a lot of confidence. Those guys are 2 premier arms. And, to feel comfortable at the plate was definitely a plus for me.
Well, it's a little bit different story with him, but the fact that he got his first hit, this season in the World Series is pretty huge, whenever the lights are on. So that's kind of scary if you think about it.
And it's almost not human. You swing at strikes. When you take time off, you feel a little more anxious up there, but it certainly didn't show from him.
I mean, that was really impressive, right? First, after the game, we said, congratulations on your first hit of the year, right? You know? So, yeah, good for him. Great at bat, especially facing guys like Andrew Miller. Even there, went 3-2 late and missed that slider. But, you know, great at bats from our guys all the way through the lineup, and especially proud of Schwartz. Almost wind's not blowing in from right. Him and Wilson probably have home runs. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get a couple more breaks and some balls may go out.
Even Miller after the game very impressed, saying you just hope somebody like that is either cheating for balls or something, but we certainly can't write him off as a guy who's rusty and not ready to play. Isn't that the truth? And Trevor Bauer will get to deal with him tonight. But speaking of Andrew Miller, Cap, he assured everyone before the game that he will be ready to go this evening. Let's send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kelly. So time for our fan poll question. Here's what we want to know. What was a better thing for the Cubs last night? Being able to see Kyle Schwarber out there running the bases, or Terry Francona having to push his left-handed stud reliever Andrew Miller for 46 pitches. Miller saying there's no way he can go 2 innings tonight. Said I could go maybe 3 outs for him tonight because of the number of pitches. Check it out, csnchicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you. We'd love to have you participate in our poll question. Now time for our Maristar Casino Resort Cubs starting lineup. Here's the lineup card. Joe Madden will trot out to home plate with Fowler's at center leading off. Bryant in the 2-hole hitting third. Rizzo bats third, place first. Zobrist, as always, in left field is the cleanup man. Schwarber DHs. Baez at second. Contreras is catching tonight. Soler is in right in the 8-hole. And Addison Russell, the shortstop, will bat ninth. Here is Joe Madden on the reasons for his lineup.
Everybody knows how well the Indians were just talking about base running, plus they can steal some bases too. And Wilson's very good at stopping that. David did a nice job last night. I believe the same thing about Wilson. And not to denigrate Miggy. Miggy's one of the best receivers I think that's in the game even today. Both leagues. We're receiving borderline pitches, calling a game, all that stuff. Miggy's outstanding. But Wilson's gotten a lot better at that too. Plus, he's probably got one of the most premier arms, again, in either league. Beyond that, Bauer. Bauer kind of presents as a reverse split guy, being that he's better against left-handed hitters than righties. And Soler fits into that mold where he's right-handed, obviously.
All right, let's talk about Wilson Contreras. He gets the start tonight. Jake has always felt more comfortable, it appears, with Miguel Montero, but Wilson Contreras, a cannon, controls a running game.
And they have matched up together, and so Contreras and Arrieta, they know each other well enough, and Jake's gonna do what he wants to do out there.
He calls his own game.
It's not about that. I love the athleticism behind the plate with Contreras, and I think the fact that he got a shot last night and drove one off the wall for a double the opposite way, I think it could be also an offensive type of a move with the swing of the bat last night. Also, if there's any type of a running game or a running threat or a low-scoring game, Contreras has a cannon back there. That's also part of the athleticism that I like that he brings to the table. So I think he shuts down the running game. Jake's good with holding runners, and he'll give Contreras a shot. I think it shuts that down. And the swing of the bat last night, I think, opened up the eyes of Joe.
Joe also said that Bauer is a reverse split guy. Mm-hmm. Righties have more success against him than lefties. That's why he's going with Jorge Soler, who always struggles. When the temperature's below 50, he's hitting in the 100 range. Not good. What's your take on this?
I don't know. I just have a hard time making sense of this. I think this is still a lot more about Jason Hayward than it is anything else. And it's just the fact that, I was the same person if you would have asked me the question, should he have started game 1 of the World Series, and I would have told you no. But I'm thinking a night like tonight, with Arrieta going, the conditions that we're sitting out here in at 38 degrees, it's rainy. I want my best defender out there tonight because Soler hasn't done enough for me this postseason to warrant the opportunity, paired with the fact that it's freezing cold out here and he hates the cold. So, I don't know. I'm a little shocked at this one. I hope it really does obviously turn out well. He's sitting at the bottom of the lineup, so again, you kind of lengthen it out a little bit, but I hope he's on his game. And again, I can't promise that. I mean, he's not. There's nothing to go off of as far as how he's been swinging the bat this postseason. It really is.
I think it's looking for some offensive punch. I think Soler might get a couple at bats, maybe two or three at bats, get the defense in there later. I think Joe's looking for a swing of the bat, make something happen, and with Soler at the bottom of the order, I think that's what this is all about.
So Soler, basically he's saying, Jorge, I think you can run into one tonight.
I think we're looking for some early runs, like the combination that we keep talking about, setting the tone, Arrieta out there, have some run support. Maybe Soler will run into one in his first 2 at-bats, make something happen. We got the defense on the bench coming in for later in the game to save the game.
That'd be outstanding. All right, we got to take our first time out. We got a whole lot more to do. We got to get to the Indians lineup, keys to the game, key performers. Brian Kenny will join us from MLB Network. Pitching matchup, a lot to do. We'll get to all of it right after this timeout. You're watching Cubs Postseason Live, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group on CSN.
Cubs Pregame Live is presented by Fields Auto Group. Fields matters because you matter. See Fields first. FieldsAuto.com.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Madden Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season, with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Madden signature vehicle, go to FieldsAuto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
With a curved ultra-high definition screen, Samsung's SUHD TVs give you a brighter picture and the most brilliant colors for the best viewing experience. It's Samsung's best TV, and it's here at Apt Electronics, available in screen sizes from 48 to 88 inches. Come see it today. Guaranteed low prices, unbeatable selection, and free local delivery. Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
All right, it is 50 minutes, 5-0 until the start of the ballgame. Still time to give Feldco a call, 866-4FELDCO. And welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live here outside Progressive Field in Cleveland. I'm David Kaplan with the Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg and at HollyTime28 on Twitter, Todd Hollinsworth. Time for our Apt Electronics pitching matchup. We got Jake Arrieta going for the Cubbies and Trevor Bauer. He of the injury because he cut his finger on a drone pitching for the Cleveland Indians. Bauer's thrown just 5 1/3 innings this postseason. Allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. Did not make it out of the first inning. His last start against the Blue Jays because of severe bleeding from that injury on his pinky. As for Jake, 0-1 with a 4.91 ERA. He last pitched in Game 3 against the Dodgers, giving up 4 runs on 6 hits in 5+ innings. Rhino, your thoughts on Jake Arrieta? He's got an ERA when the temperature's below 50, I believe, of 0.75.
He's the guy. He's the guy for the Cubs tonight. The team has to feel good about that. The guys playing behind him, the guys on the bench. It's his game. It's his game to step up. The Cubs would get back in the driver's seat going back to Chicago 1-1. Right. Obviously, I mean that's all that they can play for now. So he's the guy. He needs to really set the tempo, set the attitude of the team, and he always does.
Dominate.
He has a presence out there, and if I was an infielder playing behind him, I'd be ready on every pitch. I'd be ready to swing the bat to get him some runs. He was the Cy Young last year. I mean, he's the guy tonight. So I think that he'll have that presence. He always does. So in the cold weather, he's a short sleeve guy in the cold weather. That tells me a lot about his mentality. He's tough. The weather will not bother him. I think it'll be a tough night for the hitters in some regards, especially the tribe hitters.
Bust them in on the hands.
This guy's going to be mixing it up.
Absolutely. I have no arguments with anything you said there. I've said it all season long. He is the most uncomfortable at bat we've got out of this incredible rotation that we've witnessed all season long. 38 degrees. He gets in in your kitchen, busts one on your knuckles, and then you hit one off the end of the bat. You'll be feeling that. I promise you'll be feeling it for about 3-4 innings. You're not going to want to take your next at bat. You know what these cold games can do to you when you catch one off the end.
Handful of bees.
Oh my goodness gracious! Brutal. It is the worst feeling in the world, and there's not enough heat to fix it.
All right, let's talk about Trevor Bauer. Now, back in the spring of 2015, he pitched the spring game against the Cubs, and the Cubs went back to back to back. One of it being Chris Bryant. I think the three guys were Soler, Baez, and Bryant. All took him deep, albeit in the warm weather of Arizona. But Trevor Bauer's pretty good.
He is. He's an
command question.
He is a guy that's very hard to peg. I've likened him to two different things. Trevor Bauer, to me, is Jake Arrieta as a Baltimore Oriole. And what I mean by that is he's got a great arm. He's got a great curveball, and it's going to be a big part pitch for him tonight, so pay attention to that at home. But at the same time, he has been so inconsistent throughout his career. To your point, right, so he gives up back-to-back homers in spring training. He makes a start against them last year, dominates the Cubs lineup. Absolutely dominates. 7 shutout innings. I mean, there's all sorts of examples of how inconsistent he's been. And I mean, again, 1 month this year, he had an ERA of 2. He was 3-0. The following month, he was 1-2 with a 5. The month after that, 6.75 ERA in the month of. I mean, figuring this guy, what you're going to see tonight, I have no idea what to tell you at home other than to tell you this guy's got a good arm, watch early, and expect these Cubs hitters to feel him out that first time through the lineup.
The Cubs bats have got to bounce back themselves.
Right.
They have to create some excitement. They have to get some early base runners, get a crooked number up there so they can breathe a little bit and create some fun and energy in the dugout, and that'll carry over into the pitching for the rest of the game. But primarily top of the order, guys, getting on base runners, create some firsts and thirds, some at bats for some RBIs, and maybe some put the ball in play type RBIs. Ground balls for out, sac flies, that type of runs coming in. Put some pressure on the Tribe tonight because they need to change the mentality, change the aura a little bit about.
No question about it.
Get the fans out of it.
And get our fans into it.
Exactly.
Right.
There's enough Cubs fans here. They will get loud.
All right, let's go back inside the stadium for more on the pitching matchup. Here's our Luke Stuckmeyer.
All right, thanks, Cap. Appreciate it. The Cubs shut out for the 3rd time this postseason last night, but tonight they hand the ball over to Jake Arrieta. Jake hasn't pitched since last Tuesday, and we all know he won 18 games in the regular season, but he admits Game 2 of the World Series, yeah, that's something he will let soak in.
It's why you play the whole season, you know, to hopefully be in this position to be one of the last 2 teams standing with an opportunity to win a World Series for your organization, your city, for your team, friends and family. So it means a ton. You know, there's only 2 of 30 even get these opportunities, and not many players. There's some players that go their whole career without even being able to get to the postseason. So, you know, we're all very fortunate. You know, but we worked extremely hard to get to this point, and now we're in a spot where, you know, we want to enjoy it as much as we can. We've worked extremely hard, and now it's time to go out there, have some fun, and try and win 4 ball games.
Trevor Bauer goes for the Indians. He's faced the Cubs just once in his career. Bauer beat the Cubs at Wrigley Field last year, throwing 7 shutout innings, striking out 7, but he's been hittable in 2 postseason starts this year. 2 no decisions, an ERA over 5, and he gets a Cubs lineup looking to break out after last night.
They're obviously very talented, but the Red Sox were very talented, and the Blue Jays obviously very talented too. At the end of the day, they're just hitters. They get out 7 out of 10 times like all the rest of them. It comes down to executing pitches, executing a game plan, and honestly, there's nothing I can do to change the outcome now. Like, I'm prepared. I've done everything I can. I'm going to go out there and execute to the best level of my ability, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
And how about this, guys? Cubs fan Jason Mollett sent Bauer a mini drone as a gift today with the attached note, "Go Cubs, go." Bauer tweeted the picture, and of course, Bauer sliced his finger on his pitching hand on a drone during the ALCS. Coming up later, guys, I'll talk to Jake Arrieta. We'll get his thoughts on 2 players on his team that he will be counting very heavily on tonight. For now, we'll send it back out to you guys.
We are now joined by Brian Kenny, MLB Network Television. Brian, 1-0 lead for Cleveland. Holly and I were in agreement last night, as was Ryan Samberg. That game on Tuesday night was more important for the Indians to win than the Cubs, simply because they had their ace go. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, completely. They need to win the Kluber games. And anytime the Indians are rolling out Kluber, Miller, and Allen, they might be the better team. The rest of the series, I think it does tilt toward the better club, the deeper club, and that's the Cubs.
Do you take anything away from Andrew Miller throwing 46 pitches last night as far as his availability tonight?
We talked to him this afternoon, and he says he'd be ready for maybe an out, maybe 3 outs. That might be, even a little generous. But I think they can go to him. I think he's kind of free and easy. He can go 2 1/3, come back, give you something short. That said, I agree with, when you have it in your hands to race to 4, get that 1. So if you have to use more resources to get that win, you do it.
What is your take on the Cubs lineup? Because for me, I like the lineup they're rolling out in Game 2. It's their best offensive lineup, although Soler is not a great defender in right field. What's your thought?
Yeah, I do like that, and then I think there's a limit. You reach a point where, and this is always the case, you roll out the best offensive players that you possibly can until it harms you.
Right.
You know this. This is how baseball works. And at a certain point, you start rolling catchers out there or Kyle Schwarber out there, now you have a problem. But I think, look, you're going from Jason Hayward, who, is about the best defender in the game, but he's clearly lost at the plate. I think everybody's agreed on that. And so I think it's still a good move to put someone out there that's below league average, but not something that's going to really harm you defensively.
Brian, you look at the conditions tonight. It's cold out here. We got our jackets on. It's rainy. I think of, pitcher's grip and everything else that can go into a ball game tonight. You got 2 guys on the mound who at times this year have had control issues. Do you think that factors into tonight's ball game?
I think everything matters like this. Like, you get here and suddenly over the last week, it feels different. It is. It's, I don't know, even if momentum feels as big, as it does now, because you can see, the Cubs just kind of, you get more frigid, you freeze up, you go later into a game, and it feels like if you can get a lead, it makes a difference. As for the grip, yeah, I think, it depends on your repertoire and throwing that big curveball or depending on the action, it can have an effect. Now, that said, Kluber last night, he had that live movement, man, back and forth both ways. He didn't have a problem with it.
What is your take on Jake Arrieta? What do you expect to see from him? He's had his moments. His last really good start was against the Cardinals, 7 shutout. But he's also had his moments in the second half where he hasn't been elite.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a wide variance of performance. One thing to think about is, at his worst, it's not like he's terrible. At his worst, he's not Bob Gibson, because he was Bob Gibson for about, a year plus there. I don't know, it's mercurial. Over his last 8 starts, he's got 3 times he's given up 5 or more runs, and he has the 2 shutout performances that one that you're talking about. So I think it depends on the feel. I saw him in New York once, just went to a ball game on my own, saw him pitch against the Mets, and it was that weird sort of thing where he didn't have it. He was battling, he was getting after it, his velocity was there, but the action wasn't there. He's been talking about, you guys are closer to it than I am, but he's been talking about just not having a feel for certain pitches that he had total command of when he was going through that Bob Gibson stretch.
Explain to me what you see from Kyle Schwarber. I mean, we get it, we're connected to it, but for somebody who's on the outside that sees what Kyle Schwarber pulled off last night, how did it affect you?
All I did was ask our former players.
Right.
I kept saying, and some of our guys was like, hey, you're worried about the, Indians haven't played in 5 days. This guy's been playing in 6 months. How can you do that?
Right, good point.
But Sean Casey is one of our guys on MLB Network, and Case is one of those guys, and he describes Schwarber as, hey, some guys can roll out of bed Christmas morning and hit. This guy can hit, and he was right.
So I was reading a really good article by Buster Olney this morning, and he said that Schwarber took 1,300 BP hacks over the last 5 or 6 days. He's got all these blisters on him, and he said, I'm good. I set the setting to the toughest curveball. I'm ready to go. It's pretty amazing what he's done.
Yeah, even then you would, and I guess it just points out, it's very different from even in the 80s or the 90s where you had a pitching machine.
Right.
Now it's a pitching simulator. It's different. You can make the ball move. you can have some visual representation behind you. They have a very sophisticated outfit out in Arizona. And again, it's the reps, getting used to the velocity at the very least. That said, if you told me, hey, he's going to be fine, I'm still skeptical. I'm thinking, wait, live pitching, facing Corey Kluber, Andrew Miller, 50,000 people, World Series. I still think it would be difficult, but it shows the kid is so relaxed. He's such a natural, even if it's part of that is manufactured within his own will. Right. It's still something that he just had. Whatever it is, he's got it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All right, let me ask you this question, and I think it's an interesting one because we look at this game, and I think it probably depends on what you think this series is or who you took in this series, and how many games you took them in. The reason I ask it is because I really do believe that the Indians are the team that has to win tonight more than the Cubs, and I mean that. Who has to win tonight in your mind?
No, I think it's the Cubs. I think the opposite because it's a race to 4. And no matter what, look, we've seen teams climb out of 2-0 holes, and you can go through baseball history. I remember watching Joe Torre get on the bus in the Bronx, down 2-0 to the Braves, and I thought, poor Joe Torre. He's never been to a World Series, never won, and he ain't going to win this one. And then they won 4 straight. Braves didn't win another one in 1996. Right. That said, in the moment, you're down 2-0. You tell me. Well, it doesn't feel good.
I think it's just a reflection of what these two teams are. Like, I look at the Cleveland Indians. So if this series goes back to Chicago at 1-1, Cubs win tonight, and that's my point. Like, I think this is a must-win for the Indians, not for the Cubs.
I think they're in it for the long haul, though. I think I disagree because they're able to patch through. With Salazar back, you now have Salazar and Bauer tonight, or Salazar and Merritt maybe in a later game. And that could be 3. Now Kluber is game 4. We know that. And they're able to piece things together. They also are a deep lineup. You can see they have a lefty lineup. They've got a righty lineup. They've got 4 switch hitters. They're very versatile. So I'm now ready to give the Indians credit for winning 8 of 9 postseason games. Yeah, it's about time. And it's weird. I felt this. I know following them all year. I picked them to win the Central Division, and yet the whole season I'm waiting for the Royals, the champs, to take over. And then late I'm saying, hey, look at this offense that the Tigers have. They're going to take them. And then I thought the Red Sox would beat them. And then I thought the Blue Jays would beat them. Nobody's beaten them yet. So, yeah, I'm starting to think, while I think the Cubs are the class of baseball, they are the top team in the league. They were a super team. The run differential says it. All the advanced metrics say it. Their win total says it. I think they're the better team, but the Indians are a very good baseball team, top to bottom, and they're being managed very well.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
There he is, Brian Kenny, MLB Network. We'll take a timeout. Cubs Postseason Live continues right here on CSN.
With robotic technology, we can now regrow your natural hair. And I should know, because I had the same procedure done to myself.
The technology is here. The time is now. Fantastic results, flexible payments. Call today.
Don't be frightened. At Bob Rohrman Gurney Hyundai, spend less, save more during our sales spectacular.
Come in right now and lease that not just new, but better redesigned 2017 Hyundai Elantra sedan for only $79 a month.
Bob Rohrman. Bob Rohrman's Gurney Hyundai on Grand Avenue right across from Gurney Mills.
This Cubs Injury Report is brought to you by ATI Physical Therapy, taking physical therapy to a higher level. Ask your doctor about ATI Physical Therapy. Get there.
For the most Cubs coverage, go to csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Wintrust.
I've always believed that caring for families is the best way to keep our community healthy and safe. Which is why I do things like provide opportunities for children to learn through the Reading Buddies program, help fund child safety programs, and give to the homeless. It's also why I got into personal injury law. It gives me the opportunity to help people at a time of tremendous loss, because helping injured people win justice is its own reward.
No one delivers more in-your-face hockey than NHL Center Ice and NHL Network. With up to 40 star-studded games a week all season long, bringing you closer to every goal, every save, and every hit that fuels hockey's biggest foes. Feel the power of controlling the most hockey on TV, and let the game live where you do. Order NHL Center Ice. For a special early bird offer, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS.
And there's the good news winner right there, Chris Bryant and Big Papi. David Ortiz, congrats to both of them, winners of the Hank Aaron Award. There's the Hall of Famer Hank Aaron. The baseball commissioner Rob Manfred. It's for the best offensive player in each league. Big Papi saying, I love watching that kid play. He's my baby boy. That's what he calls Chris Bryant. Bryant said, oh, I grew up watching you play. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live with the Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg and with Todd Hollandsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Time for our Built for Business, brought to you by Comcast Business. And we are looking at the numbers Brandon Guyer put up back in 2008 when he was in the Cubs organization with the Peoria Chiefs. In 88 games, Guyer hit .269, 27 doubles, 3 triples, 14 bombs, 38 knocked in. The man who drove in a run at Game 1 of the World Series on being hit by a pitch by John Lester, was hit by 13 pitches that season. Comcast Business, built for business. Oh, and by the way, his manager on that team, Ryne Sandberg. What do you remember about Brandon Guyer?
You know what? He was a stud young athlete. He was a football player, I believe, in North Carolina or Virginia, maybe Virginia. But he was highly recruited as a running back. He had that type of mentality. He played a lot of center field, but he showed his strength, size, and some power. So, for me, it's good to see him in the big leagues. He's been with Tampa Bay, kind of up and down.
He was in the Garza trade with the Cubs.
Right, so, it's good to see him in the big leagues, see him in the World Series.
And a good kid from everything we hear.
Great kid, and, as a minor league manager, what you hope for your players when in the minor leagues is to really see them at the major league level sometime. That's the ultimate goal of a minor league manager and coaches. So very gratifying seeing him here.
Did you see that football player in him last night when he got hit by the pitch and just kind of walked it off? I mean, almost as if it didn't even hurt, just kind of, all right, I'm cool with this.
It's like getting a hit in the backfield.
I mean, he didn't even flinch.
Yeah, back in my day, you had to jump out of the way of those, otherwise the pitcher would take offense to that.
Right.
We'd jump back, but today they stand in there and take first base,
and wear all the body armor.
Exactly.
All right, let's take a look at the Indians lineup, brought to you by our friends at Wrigleyville Sports. Here is the lineup. Santana leads off. He's the DH. Kipnis in the 2-hole playing second. Lindor, third hitter at short. Napoli at first. Ramirez at third. Chisenhall in right. Coco Crisps in left. Naquin is in center. And Perez is catching, with Trevor Bauer getting the ball on the bump. Francisco Lindor, 3 hits out of the 3-hole yesterday. He's the real deal, guys.
Oh, he's a heck of a ball player. You see a lot of pockets of lefties in tonight's lineup, so you see that that's what Jake is going to be attacking for the most part. You obviously have Napoli and Ramirez right there in the middle of the lineup as right-handed power guys. Ramirez had a nice ball game, but Lindor, he is this team's leader. Yes, you heard me correctly. The 22-year-old is one of their big-time leaders. He has been given a huge huge praise from his manager, Terry Francona, for being that type of player. In fact, you go back to last year, how he's transformed this organization, even this offensive culture, with his athleticism, the willingness to take the extra base. You saw last night the stolen base. He hit a one-hop smash up the middle last night, through the middle of the field, and turned it into a double, Rhino.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the sting that he put on the ball for, I call him a little guy. I mean, I'm up in the stands, but I consider him a little guy, but he's a 3-hole hitter. Pedroia type of a guy, swings the bat aggressively, ball jumps off the bat. He's young. He created some excitement last night, so he's the guy that we need to handle and have some guys off of base when he comes up. Looks like he really stings the ball. Looks like he's on a lot of different pitches.
Yeah, he is. All right, we've got to take another time out. Again, we have more to do. We'll get the keys to the game from the guys, give you our key performers. Stick around. Don't forget, Cubs and Indians, when the game goes final, dial right back here. We'll have extended post-game coverage from outside the ballpark. We'll be right back on CSN.
Hello? This is she.
Is that the doctor?
Okay, wow, really? It's 2? That's great news, thank you.
It's 2?
Yes, it's 2. It's 2 for 1 windows at Feldco.
Feldco is offering 2 windows for the price of 1, with no money down and no interest until 2018.
2 windows for the price of 1 ends Monday. Hurry. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
Did you know slow internet can actually hold your business back? Say goodbye to slow downloads, slow backups, slow everything. Comcast Business offers blazing fast and reliable internet that's 10 times faster than slow internet from the phone company. Say hello to internet speeds up to 150 megabits per second. And add phone and TV for only $34.90 more a month. Call today. Comcast Business. Built for business.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Last night, Indians catcher Roberto Perez became just the 5th catcher to hit more than 1 home run in a World Series game. 4 backstops before him to accomplish that feat: Gary Carter, Johnny Bench, Gene Tennis, and Yogi Berra. Perez was also the first player with a multi-homer game out of the 9th spot in World Series history. It's also time to once again get interactive with the show. Be sure you get your mobile, laptop, or tablet ready. Head to csnchicago.com/vote. You do not need a special app, no cost. Just visit that website, get interactive with Holly, Rhino, and me. All right, welcome back on Cubs Postseason Live with Ryan Sandberg and Todd Hollingsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Let's go back inside. Here is Luke Stuckmeyer.
Well, Cap, the Indians back in the late 90s had a pretty wicked double play combo for a little while there. Roberto Alomar and Omar Vizquel, 21 gold gloves between them over their legendary careers. Now, the Cubs think they have something brewing just like that combo with Javier Baez and Addison Russell. It's early, but they look fantastic up the middle. I asked Jake Arrieta about his guys and how they compare to those legends early in their careers.
Just as good. Just as good. You know, as talented as Addison is and as much range as he has, you know, and then the athleticism that Javi displays from the second base side. He could play shortstop for just about any team in baseball and probably third base. So can't say that about many guys. So I think that the combination that we have up the middle is just about as good as you're ever going to see.
What's that do for you when you're on the mound and you know that that's back there, and then center field you've got somebody really good too?
Throw strikes down in the strike zone, let them hit it, you know.
Even in the World Series?
Well, you're not going to punch everybody out. These guys are good, you know. But yeah, I mean, when you execute with good stuff at the bottom of the strike zone, getting that baseball in the air is not easy to do, especially if it's got some action. So, you know, you want the ball hit to those guys, and I think that that's something that's a mindset that we have from top to bottom. You know, there's occasions where you know you need a punch out. You got you know, a guy in scoring position, no outs or 1 out. Yeah, you're trying to strike that guy out, but. In most scenarios, you'll take a ground ball to either of those guys any day.
And guys, of course, the Indians have a pretty good combo themselves. Lindor and Kipnis. Lindor with 3 hits in Game 1 of the World Series. He knows Javier Baez really, really well. They've known each other since they were kids, played against each other in high school, and even shared Thanksgiving dinner together with their families a couple years ago. So some really talented young players in this World Series. We're looking forward to seeing them again tonight in Game 2. Inside the ballpark, Luke Stuckmeyer. Cap, will send it back out to you and the boys.
All right, thank you, Luke. Our poll question for you to pop up on your screen. Which team, Indians, Cubs, has the better defense? csnchicago.com/vote, and you can cast your vote right there. You see the results tally right on your screen. Rhino, how do you vote? Who has the better team defense?
Well, Cubs all year. I mean, that's the best defense. When they have their defensive guys out there, that's the best defense maybe ever that's put together, and they've showed it. You watch them on a daily basis. They've got the athleticism, they got the youth, they got the range, they got the gloves, speed in the outfield. and that's what winning teams have. I think the Indians have good defense. That's why they're here. It helps them be here. But Cubs overall, one of the best defenses ever.
Listen, both of these teams are great defensive teams. My vote goes for the Cubs. Here's my reason. They have to protect a lot of our pitchers, and I find that to be impressive. I was thinking back to last night in John Lester. Like, Chris Bryant crashing, Anthony Rizzo crashing, Baez working his way back around to second base, defending the bunt, defending the run, Ross, Baez, snap tags at second base. I mean, all of that. We've watched it all season long. These guys are phenomenal. But even tonight, which the defense is going to be so important with Arrieta, and again, why I believe Contreras is back there, is the ability to control the running game. That is going to be a huge part of the ball game tonight, I believe, in what might be a low-scoring game, and his willingness to throw to bases. So we'll see, but my vote goes for our defense, our Cubs defense.
Yeah, if I had to vote, obviously all the metrics give it to the Cubs. Defensive runs saved. You look
Indians
at all
are
of
close, though. They're good. I mean, they're a good defensive team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't get to this level if you're not
They're
solid.
probably the best in the American League.
They are.
I'd
I
say
believe
that
they are,
for
yes.
sure.
No question about it. And the fans have voted, and they say the Chicago Cubs as well. Back inside, here's Kelly Kroll.
Well, thanks, Cap. Obviously, not ideal weather conditions for baseball tonight here in Cleveland. We've got a constant drizzle. It feels like about 40 degrees out here. Plain and simple, it's cold, and it's causing a bit of havoc with MLB and how they're going to deal with this moving forward. Coincidentally, the only World Series game to ever be suspended was the 2008 Fall Classic between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Philadelphia Phillies, which Joe Madden and Ben Zobrist were a part of and remember very vividly to this day.
We finally found a hotel. We had already checked out to go back to Tampa regardless of that, the result of that game, and so the game ends up in a suspension. Ziggy had already checked this out, so we didn't have a hotel. Did not have a hotel. Everybody's bags were, in the truck, whatever. So he found a hotel in Wilmington, Delaware, the DuPont, I think it was. And I remember at 1 o'clock in the morning, the entire organization is standing in this magnificent lobby there, and I thought that was actually a pretty cool moment to have us all there at the same time under some really difficult circumstances. But even being down in the series, et cetera, was still that's a memory that I'll always remember. The Philly fans, they knew we were there somehow. 5 o'clock in the morning, they're driving around the hotel, blowing their horn, trying to wake everybody up.
It was freezing, and I remember watching B.J. Upton run around the bases and splashes of water coming up next to his feet as he's running the bases. It was one of the worst conditions I've ever seen a baseball game played in at the time. So it wasn't real fun that we had to stay up there for an extra day or so. We had to move hotels even at the time because of it, but. When you're playing the World Series, the weather, it's definitely secondary, and you're just, trying to play the game as best you can.
So I guess in comparison to that, these conditions aren't so bad. But here's the deal. According to MLB, if this game is stopped at any point tonight, it will resume tomorrow with games 3, 4, and 5 as scheduled on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And according to the forecast guys, there is more rain on the way tomorrow. So we're going to cross our fingers that this one gets in the books tonight and we head back to Chicago.
All right, we've got to get the keys to the game from these guys, pick our key performers, and give you one last weather check, and then send it off to baseball. So take a quick timeout. We'll come back with Ryan Sandberg, Todd Hollingsworth. I'm David Kapp. We'll be back in a moment.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
My whole career I was pretty much bald, so people just got to know me as being a bald guy.
I always wondered what I could do with the balding spot in the crown of my head. There is a method out there to make it look natural.
Get your own head of thick, full hair with Restore.
The new FUE procedure allows us to gently remove follicles one at a time.
There's no cutting, there's no stitches. I had enough of that when I played hockey. You take hair where you got a lot of it and put them into a spot where you don't have a lot of them.
Look better and feel better with Restore. Just look at these life-changing, natural, permanent results. Comb it, cut it, style it. It's your hair. You're just one call away from looking and feeling more confident.
This is important, and it's good for me.
I feel better with her. I owe it all to Restore.
Call Restore today for your free consultation and get a $500 gift card. It may be the first step that changes your life forever.
Call 1-800-712-4545 or visit restorehair.com. Call now.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. Lease the 2016 NX Turbo with zero due at signing for $429 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
All right, welcome back on Cubs Postseason Live here outside Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Wilson Contreras is getting the start tonight. He'll catch Jake Arrieta. And Joe Madden saying one of the key reasons, obviously he's a great offensive player, but he said he's got the arm that can control, he believes, the Indians' running game. What do you guys think about that decision to have him back there for his arm?
We talked about that earlier as the case. Don't want the Indians to get on base, which I think will be very difficult against Jake tonight. But if they do, to steal a base and have that be the difference in the game. So Contreras has the ability to shut that down, along with Jake's ability to hold runners. That's a good combination, not giving any free bases tonight, which could be a low-scoring game with the cold weather, the dampness. So and the swing of the bat. I think he earned that with the swing of the bat last night. That helped his cause last night with that.
I love his demeanor. I mean, everything that Rhino said right there in describing his game, the ability to control the running game, obviously the offense that he brings to the table, but at the same time, we've talked about it all season long. Who doesn't love what this kid plays with? The passion he plays this game with, what we see on a nightly basis. I mean, there's a swagger, there's a little attitude mixed in there. That's what you want in a game you feel like you need to win. I don't want to drop the must-win bomb on this game, but the one that you want to get. You want to go home 1-1. In order to make that happen, I'll roll the dice with this young man behind the plate any night.
How much do you think the Indians try to run? Because Jake can throw over there, John doesn't. Jake's just not great timing-wise.
Jake's not going to give them the base, and with Contreras behind the plate, that's a tough duo to steal a base, I think, from the get-go. So they might just have a couple of guys that would have the ability to do it, but they're going to have to get the right read, get the right break, and get in there by a nail down there for me with the combination of Arrieta and Contreras. Jake is well aware of the base runners, does a good job there, and I don't know, if we get some early runs on the board and a crooked number, then they might not have a chance to steal or want to steal bases in those circumstances.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just it. I mean, you're controlling the running game is a big part of what they do, but at the same time, I mean, game dictates a lot of how much you can run. The willingness to throw breaking balls in those counts. I mean, that's really what ends up happening. If Jake's got a great breaking ball and he wants to throw it a little bit more tonight, which it'll be interesting to see because it's cold out here. I don't know how the grip is going to be. This might be a fastball-driven game. But if he is throwing that breaking ball, that's where Indian base runners are going to say, okay, we're going to try and get ourselves into counts where he's going to throw that pitch and try to run.
All right, we got to take our last time out. Keys to the game, key performers, and then it's first pitch time. So stick around right here on CSN.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
NBA League Pass. Your courtside seat to the action from around the league.
Curry deep three.
See it happen live. Catch the games on your TV and computer. Stream them on your devices with the new NBA app. Watch live games from wherever you are.
You don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
basketball. Every NBA night is a can't-miss night. To order NBA League Pass today, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/NBA.
I've always believed that caring for families is the best way to keep our community healthy and safe, which is why I do things like provide opportunities for children to learn through the Reading Buddies program, help fund child safety programs, and give to the homeless. It's also why I got into personal injury law. It gives me the opportunity to help people at a time of tremendous loss, because helping injured people win justice is its own reward.
All right, there's the numbers on Jake Arrieta. When the temperature's below 50, which it definitely is tonight, he is 3-0 with a 1.35 ERA, so that bodes well. Hopefully he brought his A stuff. Time for our keys to the game, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group. Ollie time.
All right, early game pitch count, talking Bauer here. Here's the deal. You know, we know he's got that lesion on his finger there, and I think there's the possibility that, we don't know what he is right now. And again, what you saw in the ALCS, when that thing opened up, obviously he started to bleed. They had to get him out of the ballgame, and I think that's very much a realistic possibility in this one. They say he's healthy, but if you can get him to, say, a 25, 30, 40 pitch first inning, where we were talking about kind of wearing him out a little bit, we'll see where he's at. I mean, it's just, I don't really know how to answer this question, but it's definitely going to be a factor in this ballgame is who is Trevor Bauer? I mean, he's so inconsistent anyway. You factor in the finger, you factor in the pitch count, and if you can get into that Indians bullpen early, I think it could really set them back a little bit. So watch that early game pitch count, Trevor Bauer. Now, to the corners, not through the corners. Talking a little Jake Arrieta. When he is on his game, he is exposing that middle of that plate, watching his pitches explode to the corner. You don't want it to get off that corner, because if it gets off the corner, then we're talking about balls. Hitters are taking balls, and they'll eliminate that slider altogether, and they'll start to look out over the plate. We want to see that ball running into the strike zone and working its way to the corners when he is absolutely at his best. So to the corners, but not through those corners. And key number 3 tonight, Rhino, if it hasn't been a key already, it certainly has been a key in the pregame. The weather. It's cold, and it's a little rainy, and they're predicting and they're calling for rain about the 7th, 8th inning of this ballgame. So we'll see if it does have an effect. If this is a low-scoring game.
We got about 50 seconds.
Where's
What's
it go?
Your biggest key?
Biggest key tonight is for Arrieta to right away take charge of the game, show the Cubs that he's in charge, show the hitters that. Early offense for the Cubs, top of the order primarily. That group was 0 for 12 last night, so the Fowlers, Bryant, Rizzo.
Get it going.
For me, get it going early, get some base runners, put some pressure on Bauer.
Your key performer.
Rizzo, right there in the middle with a couple guys on base. Early RBI for him.
Dexter Fowler leading this game off with a walk and scoring in the first inning.
I hope you guys are right, but I'm going with Ben Zobrist. He had a 3-hit night last night. You left him on the board.
That was my
Good
guy.
for me. That was your guy last night. All right, Nat, we'll put a ribbon on the pregame show. Sports Talk Live's coming up. Don't forget, we'll be here right after the ballgame. Dial us back up, hopefully, for a big Cubs W. Have a great night, everybody. Go Cubs.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Madden Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season, with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Madden signature vehicle, go to fieldsauto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
With a curved ultra-high-definition screen, Samsung's SUHD TVs give you a brighter picture and the most brilliant colors for the best viewing experience. It's Samsung's best TV, and it's here at Apt Electronics, available in screen sizes from 48 to 88 inches. Come see it today. Guaranteed low prices, unbeatable selection, and free local delivery. Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
At Shabana Creek RV, we don't sell campers. We sell luxury homes away from home, like this 2005 Country Coach Allure 43-foot motorhome. You need to see it, folks. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And one payment only of $140,000 will make it yours. Like this 2007 Safari Simba 36-foot 4-slide-out diesel pusher motorhome with only 26,000 miles, priced now at $98,995. Shabana Creek RV, Atkinson, Illinois.
It is I, Count Babila, and my girlfriends, here to save you big money on a new Toyota. Hurry in now to Oak Brook Toyota.
During our sales spectacular, lease a 2017 Toyota Camry for only $189 a month or get 0% financing.
Bob Rohrman. Bob Rohrman's Oak Brook Toyota in Westmont, only 5 minutes west of the Tri-State on Ogden Avenue.
The story that no one is talking about, or should I say care about? Jay Cutler will be back at quarterback for the Bears on Monday night. According to Jay, the team didn't have a choice. Is Cutler gone after this year, and could his number one receiver be gone in the next week? Meanwhile, the Bulls tip off their season tomorrow night with more questions than answers. How will the three alphas get along? How will Fred Hoiberg fare in year two? Will it be a struggle to make the playoffs? We'll discuss that and more today on Sports Talk Live. All right, welcome to Sports Talk Live, presented by the Chevy Silverado. I'm Chuck Arfine. The big story tonight, obviously, Game 2 of the World Series. First pitch coming up in a little bit. With more, let's go out to Cleveland. Our Cubs World Series coverage driven by Lexus. David Kaplan, Todd Hollingsworth are there. Game 2 is about to begin. What's on your mind right now, Cap?
Well, I think it's really the key that Ryan Sandberg mentioned, that Jake Arrieta has to go out and be Jake Arrieta. He's got to set the tone for this baseball team, and he's got to hold Cleveland in check until the offense can get to Trevor Bauer. Now, Kluber is one thing. Bauer's not quite at his level. He's good. He's talented. Kluber's elite. He's one of the best in the game. So I think you got to have a two-pronged attack of Jake and get guys on base that score. All right, let's talk a little bit about the weather here, because it's cold. And again, nobody's complaining. It's the World Series. You're thrilled to be here, but it will be a factor in tonight's game. That's why they moved the game up by an hour. Right. And that's why they're saying, hey, guys, you may be here Thursday because the weather's not supposed to be real good.
Well, and it's not the weather that we're dealing with right now. The players will deal with a 38. It's not comfortable. They're a little stiff. They work their way through it. That's not going to be the issue tonight. What will be the issue is grip, pitcher grip. I mean, again, when your fingers get cold, I hear it from all of them all the time. When it gets below 40 degrees or so, they start to lose grip of that ball. So with both guys tonight, think about this. Arrieta, 70-plus walks on the season. Bauer, 70-plus walks on the season. Both these guys have teetered at times with their command. So watch and see if it's not a factor in tonight's ball game. And then the rain, which is being forecasted in about the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, depending on how heavy it is, having an impact potentially on this game.
All right, let's talk about the lineup changes. Jason Hayward sits again. This time instead of Coughlin, Soler getting a shot in right field. Contreras catches.
I was a little surprised at this move. I felt like with what the circumstances are tonight, that Soler doesn't really like the cold weather all that much, that he hasn't done a whole lot offensively this postseason. I was surprised that he got the nod. I mean, I get it. It's a bit of a, throwing something up against the wall to see if it sticks. I get that. Let's hope it happens. Let's hope he doesn't get a whole lot of traffic out there in the outfield as well. I don't want to see a whole lot too many fly balls or him getting overexposed. But I think this is a good opportunity for him to get in there and do something. He hasn't done much. Again, he's got great postseason success from last year. We just haven't seen it yet this year. You could have gone in multiple ways here. He chose to go with Soler. He gave him the nod. He's down in the lineup tonight. Let's see if he can put together a couple good at-bats.
All right, Contreras catches Jake Arrieta.
I am not surprised at that. Now, I know that the numbers and certainly the personal idea that, or Jake's personal idea of liking Montero maybe more than others. I mean, I've been sticking to my guns on this one. David Ross is the answer to this one for me. I don't know why he's not in there more. His numbers are actually best with David Ross. But if you're picking between the three, or if you're not picking against one, Contreras is number 2. That's where I go. And I know that the ERA doesn't favor him as much, but he controls the running game. This Indians team, I felt like last night it wasn't the topic. Tonight it might be a little bit more. You got Jake Arrieta, base runners, even at the big league level, they don't like to run against lefties, Cappy. They're more comfortable running against righties. Jake Arrieta, obviously right-handed. If they get a couple guys on, they're probably going to put them in motion. Who controls the running game best of these three besides Rossi? I guess I would go with Contreras.
All right, we'll see what happens. Don't forget, Cubs postseason live. As soon as the ball game goes final, you flip over here. And me, Holly, and Rhino will break it all down for you. We'll see if the Cubs can even this series at a game apiece, winging their way back to the Windy City. Chuck, let's go back to you, bud.
Go inside, get warm. Let's meet the panel for today's show. From the Chicago Tribune, Teddy Greenstein and Rich Campbell. And whenever I host STL, it is automatic. Brian Hedger is here to my right from NHL.com.
We're a tandem.
It's like 5 times in a row. I've hosted the show randomly over the last 2 months, and you're always on the show.
You probably just come on the set and expect me to be sitting here.
I do. It's come to that point.
There's a little locker they keep me in back there.
All right, a little more on the series here. The Indians are pests. We saw what they did in Game 1. Do you see them somehow stealing Game 2?
Well, I mean, I think it is intriguing, the Wilson-Contreras decision, Contreras versus Ross. Wilson's first throw, whether it's the first to try to pick off a guy or the second to try to get a guy stealing, that's going to be big because as those guys, as Cap and Hollinsworth mentioned, I mean, the Indians are going to they're going to get on base against Arrieta. He has not been a lights-out guy since the spring, so we got to see if they're going to be able to run wild out there.
I think when you look at the matchup just between these two teams, they can both pitch against each other well. I had a big question about whether the Indians could hit with the Cubs. Last night we saw that the answer was a resounding yes, but Roberto Perez is not going to hit 2 home runs a night, and they were able to build this lead with a swinging bunt with the bases loaded and a hit by pitch with the bases loaded. Let's see if the Indians can get going again.
That's what I think the Indians are, though. They are pests. They have random luck sometimes that happens, like Jose Ramirez, and then they get a guy hit 2 home runs from the number 9 spot in the order.
But Jose Ramirez, it's not all luck with him.
Oh, no,
He's a good little hitter. And I mean, I like to use the cliche scrappy with them. They are a scrappy bunch of guys, and they're kind of reflective of Francona, their manager, you know.
That's a concern because in this weather, scrap is going to beat lumber.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
That's true. Well, let's move now to the Bears. No Brian Hoyer under center Monday night against the Vikings, so John Fox is forced to go with the quarterback that's making $16 million a year, Jay Cutler. So Cutler was asked yesterday if he felt like he still had John Fox's support as the team's starter. Here's what he said.
He doesn't have a choice, I guess, at this point. I mean, Brian's out, so I got to go. I've had good conversations with Foxy this week, last week, the week before. There's never been any strain in our relationship. Both very open and honest, and we're on the same page. We just want to win football games.
Okay, let's read between the lines. What was that?
Well, Jay will let you know how he feels, and he's always
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So what he said in the first sentence there spoke volumes. And even if he has had good conversations with Fox, I don't think you would put it past Fox to say, look, Brian Hoyer's not turning the ball over. We're going to stick with him until something changes there. He backpedaled on that Monday in front of the press and tried to say that there was never an open competition. John was asked many times in multiple ways to clarify that dynamic. I don't think he left any doubt that the position was open to Hoyer. You could understand why Jay doesn't feel great about that, but he's right. They have no choice. He's in.
I feel so bad for you and all the guys who cover the Bears.
Well, thanks.
Combination of how do you guys not write? Who cares? None of this matters because it's all about a draft pick at this point. And all the lies you guys are fed. I don't know if it's daily or weekly.
Daily.
Seems daily.
Yeah,
Daily.
It's frustrating. And as someone who's trying to follow the team through a really down time, you are looking for the incremental progress that falls a little bit
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, right, but he can't get on the field sometimes. I mean, the rebuilding effort so far has been every bit as difficult and painful as it could have been.
Was there any sign early, before the season started, that Cutler could lose his job because of performance?
Well, if you go back to the preseason, remember Connor Shaw was the one that was playing well at quarterback, and people were talking about him replacing Hoyer. So I don't think there really was, but when Jay turned the ball over 3 times in the first 7 quarters, that's a way to play your way out of it really quickly. And I think we always had concerns about whether Jay was going to take a step forward from a positive 2015 or regress to the mean. I think it was more likely he was always going to regress to the mean, and that's what happened.
Got to ask you about Alshon Jeffrey. Any legs to this? Because we rarely see trades made in the NFL.
I cannot envision a scenario or a trade price that would make sense for both sides in this. Because Jeffrey is on the franchise tag, he cannot sign a contract extension during the season, okay? So the Eagles would be trading for him as a rental.
Yeah.
Why would Jeffrey agree to some kind of wink, let's address this after the season? That makes no sense, no incentive for him to do that. The Bears are not going to get what Jeffrey is worth, and I think the biggest roadblock here is that the Bears like Jeffrey. Yeah. They want to re-sign him. The biggest thing for Jeffrey this season was staying healthy, and even though he hasn't been in the end zone yet this year, he's played all 7 games. That's a big deal. I think they want to re-sign him.
Well, here's our Sports Talk Live poll question. You see right here. Go to csnchicago.com/vote to vote. And, 65% of you feel that they will not trade Alshon Jeffrey. It makes sense to keep him here right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like Chris Sale and the White Sox. I mean, if you trade Alshon Jeffrey, you still need a number 1 receiver. Exactly. You're not going to go anywhere.
But how much you're going to get? I think you get a lot for Sale versus what you're going to get for Alshon.
Well, then even less reason to move Jeffrey. But it's like you still need somebody like that, so it doesn't make any sense.
Who are they going to have play their top receiver role if you trade this guy?
So where did this come from, though? That's what I want to know.
I don't want to disparage the reporting, but it was not a highly regarded national outlet or anything like that. So it has some legs in this 2016 Twitter universe that we're living in. Yep. I would just add that the Bears are, in all likelihood, going to make a move for a quarterback of the future next offseason. And this goes back. I mean,
are we saying draft or are we saying?
We'll have to see. I mean, you could see a couple different ways. Trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Most likely the draft, I would think. But whoever comes in is going to need some weapons. Right. You're not getting better by getting rid of Alshon Jeffrey when the rest of your guys are an injured Kevin White.
I've got
and
a
Cam
headache
Meredith.
About this.
This should go nowhere. This really should go nowhere.
I like this Garoppolo idea. What do you think it would take to get him?
It'll be an interesting question to see if he plays the rest of the year. But if he doesn't ever play again, I think you're looking at 2 picks in at least the second round to get him. I mean, I'd have to go back through some of the trades recently, but I think you're looking at 2 second-rounders type picks.
Patriots would
like
love that, right? To get two high number 2s.
They did it well.
Do you believe in Garoppolo? Is he a guy that could be a winner in the NFL?
Yes, but I don't know if I'm taking that sample from the Patriots.
Right.
Because he's got so many things in place around him. But I wrote a feature on him for the paper back in August when we were out there and the Bears were practicing against the Pats. Sort of looking forward to this, and obviously he's a suburban Chicago guy. A lot of people love his quick release, really good, heady player, smart. Unfinished product, though. Unfinished product. I mean, there would be growing pains if they brought him in.
All right, will the Bears trade Alshon Jeffrey? 65% of you say no, 35% say yes. Thank you for letting us know. The New Look Bulls take the court for real tomorrow night, so what can we expect from the Butler-Wade-Rondo combo? Is this a playoff team? We'll discuss. Plus, the Kevin Durant era begins with a loud thud at Golden State, a blowout loss on their home court. And Brian tells us why the Blackhawks are at such a disadvantage on the penalty kill. That's coming back. We're coming back in a moment.
Sports Talk Live is presented by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers who know what it takes to be number 1. It's all about drive.
How's it going?
Hi.
Today we're going to be comparing the roll-form steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck.
Awesome.
Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Oh, wow. That's a good-sized puncture.
You're aluminum now, you're going to go, ooh. Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow. Yeah, a couple dents.
I'd expect more dents.
It's Truck Month. Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star.
My name is Jim Cornelison, and I am the national anthem singer for professional hockey in Chicago. I am in front of millions of people every time I get out on that ice. And the more I've been on camera in the last few years, I noticed, the bald patch coming in. Ultimately, I had to face the truth. I just had less hair up there.
Get your own head of thick, full hair with Restore.
The procedure is quick, it's comfortable, it's pain-free. There's no cutting, there's no stitching, and there's no linear scar. It's my own hair, it's just moved from the back to the front. I was in the morning, I was out in the afternoon.
Comb it, cut it, style it. It's your hair. You're just one call away from looking and feeling more confident.
When I walk out on the ice and I know I'm going to be on that Jumbotron, I feel good about how I look.
Call Restore today for your free consultation and get a $500 gift card. It may be the first step that changes your life forever.
Call 1-800-873-7171 or visit restorehair.com.
We asked people to write down the things they love to do most on these balloons.
Travel with my daughter.
Roller derby?
Now, give up half of them.
Do I have to?
This is the tough financial choice we could face when we retire. But if we start saving even just 1% more of our annual income, we could keep doing all the things we love.
Prudential, bring your challenges. Tonight, your National League champs eye a Game 2 World Series win, and CSN is on top of every history-making moment. Which players need to break out? The guys break it all down, plus complete post-game clubhouse coverage on Cubs Postseason Live, starting 10:95 on CSN. This week, High School Lights is on Saturday night as the IHSA State Football Playoffs heat up. Join us for a recap of the first round and see which teams are moving on. High School Lights, presented by Wintrust, Saturday night after Cubs Postseason Live on CSN.
Hey, the Illinois High School Football Playoffs kick off this weekend, and we have a big 8A showdown Friday night on CSN. Lyons Township against Naperville North. You can watch that game on CSN. It'll also be streaming on csnchicago.com and the NBC Sports app.
Brian, the bet is this. We're both fashion guys. We both love to dress. We both love to feel good and look good. So, whoever team loses, the loser has to show up during the NBA season to the other guy's home game dressed as a team who won. Example, if the Chicago Cubs win in December when Cleveland comes to Chicago, you have to show up when you walk into the arena dressed as a Chicago Cub, and vice versa. If the Cleveland Indians win in January when we come to town, I'll walk in dressed just like a Cleveland Indian. I had the hat on, the top and the bottom, socks, all the way down to the sneaks. All right? So that's the World Series bet. Good luck, homie.
All right, so December 2nd at the United Center, the Cavs come to Chicago. So there's a chance, pretty good one. LeBron James is going to show up in a Cubs uniform.
Do they make them that big?
Yeah, as I said, the pants.
That's going to have to get your tailor like right now, for the pants.
What if he was going to wear a uniform? What uniform do you think he'd wear? Who do you want to be?
Wow.
Oh, he'll have a
Cubs player? You're talking LeBron?
I would want to be Madden. If I got any name on my back, I want to be associated with him, and I'd get the glasses too.
Kyle Schwarber's from Ohio. Maybe he'd do a Schwarber.
Schwarbs.
I don't know.
He'll just borrow Kaminsky's Bartman jersey. About the same size.
That didn't go over very well. Let's talk about the Bulls. Scale of 1 to 10. Where's your confidence with this Bulls team? 1 to 10.
I mean, it's going to be probably not great after the preseason.
That's not a number.
They did a number. Do you want a number?
Give me a number. 1 to 10.
1 to 10. I would go probably about a 4.
So you're them being a 500 team, your confidence is probably like a 10.
Yes.
Getting so confused.
I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah,
yes. 10 on being 500.
So USA Today, the worst prediction I have seen. USA Today predicted that they're going to finish 31-50.
Woo!
51
That's pretty
losses.
bad.
It's not impossible. Here's the thing. I mean, yeah, we got 3 dribblers as the top 3 offensive players, so I don't think this is going to be a big assist team. You don't have shooters. I mean, if something happens where, Mirotic and McDermott don't make a big stride, where's this offense? And Wade and Rondo are not very good defensively either. So I understand that concern.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of X factors, and I would say that McDermott and Mirotic are 2 of them.
Yeah.
How are they going to play? They need someone to shoot from the outside. Is it going to be just these 3 guys and everybody else? If that's the case, it could be an ugly year, but 51 losses.
Maybe if you could turn the clock back on Rondo and Wade by about 5 to 10 years.
They'd be in Miami and Boston.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And put them here with Jimmy Butler. Then maybe you might have something.
Yes. All right, meanwhile, the Warriors. The Warriors last night, they begin their season with Kevin Durant. They're at home, and they lose by 29 to the Spurs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just one game. There's no reason to panic or anything like that, but this was a shocker, to say the least.
Yeah, it's about as well as the Knicks did in their season opener. And Steve Kerr, probably did him a solid. I mean, how do you get your team's attention by being humiliated in a game that, other than the World Series, people were paying attention to?
I mean, it took time for the Heat to gel when they had their own big three in the very beginning. They had some growing pains. This is a team that can win a championship, so I don't think, and they've had the experience to do it, but that was a shock.
And Durant had a really good game. It wasn't on him.
Right. They got to figure out how to play together, how to defend together. They give 129 points. Okay, let's move to the Blackhawks. So far this season, when their opponents have gone on a man advantage, they've had a huge advantage. Check out the stat of the day driven by the Chevy Silverado. The Hawks have conceded 24 goals this season, 14 on the penalty kill. That counts for 58% of their goals allowed. Hedger, what is going on here with the penalty kill?
It's a good question.
Yes, that's the question of the season.
Every time, it's gotten to the point now where every time a guy takes a penalty and he's going to the penalty box, you turn to the guy next to you and go, well, that's a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels that bad. I mean, it's just like they're a mess right now. I mean, they're not blocking shots as much as they need to. When they're trying to block shots, they're getting in the wrong shooting lanes. They're getting in front of Corey Crawford. Corey Crawford's making saves, but then not able to squeeze it, and then the defensemen are too lax getting there, and the puck's in the net before you know it.
I mean, to put some perspective, they're killing only 46% of the penalty kills last in the NHL. The next closest is the Jets at 68%. That's a huge gap.
Put it this way. If they have to go, I think I saw a stat the other day, they have to go something like 30 for their next 30 to get up over 70%.
And they were at 80 last year.
Which is a bad
amazingly
number.
The Jets don't even play hockey. They're a football team, and they still kill more penalties.
This is historically bad. I mean, it's really, really a bad start.
All right, so we look at this very early on in the season. You don't want to overreact, but is this team maybe losing something here going forward, or is this just a little blip? Like we've had come
bigger
to expect,
than a blip at this point.
Okay, because we've come to expect this team to be a dominating force in the league. Are we?
It's a weird team. It's a very weird team so far after 7 games, because if you look at their numbers 5-on-5, they're not bad. I mean, in fact, better than last year. You get into the whole Corsi stuff and the puck possession and all that. Last year they were around 12th, 13th. This year they're already like up to 8th, 7th, and they're usually in the usually 2 or 3 years ago they'd be like 1st or 2nd in that category. So they're actually, the numbers say they're controlling the puck more and they're getting more shots. But you talk to any one of these guys, talk to Joel Quenneville, talk to Patrick Kane, talk to Jonathan Taves, any of them, all 3 of them are saying, we don't have the puck enough. We're playing too much defense. We're always in our own zone. And it's like, but the numbers say you're not. So what is it? But when you watch them, there's not a lot of sustained zone time, offensive zone time that you like to see from this team. There's not a ton of it. In 2013, when they won the Cup, Mark Lazarus and I, we were always joking that they would just kind of fool with teams. They'd get it in the offensive zone and kind of just go like, and play around with teams because they knew that they could just hold it in as long as they wanted to. It's been a while since it's been that way.
Okay, well, Taves said we got to get better. We got to be better, and that is certainly the case. Okay, Ohio State was swept away in the whiteout at Happy Valley. Is Michigan the team to beat? Can they be stopped? What about Nebraska? We'll talk college football with Teddy next.
I refuse to let myself be limited. I walk the walk of a man who isn't afraid to wear floral. I don't want to just look at the man in the mirror. I want to know who he is. It's me. I'm comfortable in my own skin, but a man can't walk in public in his skin alone. In the end, you can't waste any time thinking about the end. Wear what you want to wear. Just don't wear any doubts.
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-form steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck. Awesome. Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Oh, wow. That's a good-sized puncture. You're aluminum now, you're going to go, ooh.
Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow. Yeah, a couple dents. I'd expect more dents.
It's Truck Month. Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star.
Homeowner Protection Services can help save your home. We specialize in foreclosure assistance, and that's all we do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Homeowner Protection Services now. Homeowner Protection Services has a network of attorneys, and our agents are available to speak to you now. New laws are in effect that may save your home. So call Homeowner Protection Services now.
Attention type 2 diabetics. According to the FDA, the drug Invokana may lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. If you or someone you love took Invokana and suffered ketoacidosis, you may be entitled to compensation. Ketoacidosis can cause kidney failure, coma, and even death. Call the law firm of Avram Blair & Associates right now for a free consultation.
Call 800-286-5089. That's 800-286-5089.
Fans, stay close to your boys in blue right here at CSNChicago.com. We're bringing you the top stories, team news, and video that you crave all in one place. Phenomenal coverage. And you can trust insider Patrick Mooney to bring you the very latest from the clubhouse. Then head over to the Pulse page and get your social on. Check out the standings, the schedule, stats, and gear up at the shop. It's all one click away. It's that easy.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Palmeiro. A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship. The White Sox have won the World Series, and they're mobbing each other on the field.
No ESPN, Washington Post, CBS News, Chicago Tribune. That was not a Hollywood movie. The White Sox did, in fact, win the World Series in 2005. In fact, on this very date in 2005, Sox fans were not happy about this.
What did the Tribune do?
There was a little op-ed piece in the Tribune. They were talking about all these great accomplishments in Chicago sports history over the last 30 years. And
conveniently left.
Didn't even bring up the White Sox.
We are not responsible for the edit board or the op-ed page. Let's just establish that right now.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, if you want to tick off a fan base, right before Game 1 of the Cubs in the World Series, you omit that the White Sox even had a World Series title in the last.
How nice was it to hear John Rooney voice again? Right, that guy was awesome.
And then he goes to the Cardinals. That's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, college football. Ohio State had a big loss at Penn State. My question to you is: Michigan a team to beat, and what are your thoughts about Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, I actually picked Michigan to win the Big Ten going into this year, and this team has been absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
They have over 40 seniors on their roster compared to Ohio State, which has 0 senior starters on defense. It's really J.T. Barrett and a bunch of young guys. I mean, they lost like 14 guys to the NFL. So Michigan's got a lot of momentum. Now, the Michigan-Ohio State game is in Columbus, so slight edge there for the Buckeyes. But, yeah, I expect Michigan to go.
All right, so Nebraska has Wisconsin and Ohio State coming up next 2 weeks.
Yes.
They're undefeated, almost quietly undefeated because they haven't really played anybody.
Right.
So you're not really believing in them.
No, it's a soft 7-0. They've only left home twice, beat Northwestern, beat Indiana. So Wisconsin has been the class of the West so far, and I'll be incredibly surprised if the Badgers don't win.
And Michigan beat them hard, pretty soundly, right? Wisconsin. Michigan beat them pretty soundly.
It wasn't that bad, was it? I think it was pretty
I don't think the
close.
score was lopsided, but
they controlled them. But that was I guess to me, that was the only game that Michigan was really tested in as well. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of testing games in the Big Ten.
They're coming up, I think, in the next few weeks.
They have Michigan, a wounded Michigan State. They still have to go to Iowa City, and then they got Ohio State.
We got less than a minute. Northwestern's won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Are they getting Ohio State at the best time or the worst time?
Oh, that's my column topic for a couple days. The whole angry team theory. All these Northwestern fans are like, oh no, they had their bad game last week. Now they're going to be all ticked off and they're going to take it out on Northwestern. I don't buy that. I think if you look at Ohio State now, there's some holes. Offensive line, there's some issues, and I think Ohio State's confidence is down. Northwestern plays well on the road, so I think it'll be a decent game.
Thanks, guys, for being here. We appreciate it. All right, that's a wrap for Sports Talk Live, presented by the Chevy Silverado. Remember, subscribe to the Sports Talk Live podcast at csnchicago.com/podcast. Don't miss an episode. SportsNet Central is next with Sierra Santos. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-form steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck.
Awesome.
Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Wow. That's a good-sized puncture. If you're aluminum now, you're going to go, ooh.
Let's check out the Silverado's steel bed.
Wow. Yeah, a couple dents. I'd expect more dents.
It's Truck Month. Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star.
Here's some information. We have the right amount of beer taps. If we had any more, the kegs wouldn't stay fresh. Any fewer, and we might not have that beer you like on tap. The one you can't pronounce, so you just point? We've got all that and more, which makes us pretty confident. We've got that confident look in our eyes, the squinty one with the furrowed brow, because of the taps.
Every NHL team has just 20 players. That's 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies. But not our team. These are our wingers. These are our centers. Our defensemen. Our goalies. And our coaches. This is our locker room. This is our bench. These are our rinks. And this is our home ice. During a game, only 20 of us take the ice. But every one of us has one goal.
Welcome back to the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport Network, everybody. 20 minutes till sundown. Will they make it? This might be a good time for all-wheel control. There's the decision. Off-road we go. With a 2.4-liter engine, they're powering into that final stretch. What a finish. This broadcast was brought to you by the new 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Make your drive a sport.
Max Manta Mitsubishi's fourth quarter final drive event. 0% APR for 72 to 84 months. Stackable loan rebates topping $1,500. Cash buyers save $5,500 to $7,500 in rebates and discounts.
Hi, this is Ben Zobrist, and you're watching the home of Cubs baseball, CSN Chicago, presented by State Farm.
You're connected to SportsNet Central, presented by Comcast Business.
A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship. Enjoy the celebration, Chicago. This is long overdue.
Well, happy anniversary to the Chicago White Sox. No, we have not forgotten about you. Hey, I'm Sierra Santos, and this is SportsNet Central presented by Comcast Business. We have an extended look back at the day the White Sox won the World Series 11 years ago today, but we start with the monsters of the Midway. Jay Cutler medically cleared to return to action after missing the last 5 games with a right thumb injury. Now, Cutler will replace Matt Barkley, who replaced Brian Hoyer after he broke his arm. Here's what Cutler said Tuesday about John Fox's non-committal responses earlier in the season about Jay returning to the starting role.
I didn't really get into it. Didn't want to. I mean, didn't concern me. I wasn't ready to play. My thumb wasn't healed. The doctors weren't going to let me go. Training staff wasn't going to let me go. So it was, didn't really bother me at that point. Brian went in there and did a great job. My discussions with everybody that I have relations with in here were positive, and whenever I was ready to go, I'd be ready to go. So there was never any discussion regarding that with me.
Do you feel like you still have John's support?
He doesn't have a choice, I guess, at this point. I mean, Brian's out, so I got to go. I've had good conversations with Foxy this week, last week, the week before. There's never been any strain in our relationship. Both very open and honest, and we're on the same page. We just want to win football games.
Well, Jay's wife, Kristen Cavallari, is pumped for the QB's return. She Instagrammed, he's back, maybe a couple weeks before he's supposed to be. But good luck this week, babe. Kick some Vikings. Expletive. We now bring in the fabulous Bears beat writer from the Chicago Tribune, Rich Campbell. Rich, does K-Cav know something we don't? Is Cutler coming back too soon?
I don't think quite too soon necessarily, Sierra, but the Bears had earmarked the November 13th game against the Buccaneers as Jay's return date from that sprained right thumb. That's given him a long time. That's being very cautious, erring on the side of caution with the thumb injury that really was aggravated in that Eagles game that you see here. I think Jay's been ready to go. He talked on Tuesday about the real issue being strength. in that thumb. Can he grip the ball properly? Can he throw it properly? We saw him practice and throw just a little bit on Tuesday. The answers to those questions were yes. So I think he feels confident about how he can go here, and it'll be interesting to see once he's under duress, once he's under pressure, whether that hand actually holds up like he expects it to.
Now, moving from strength to strain, what do you make of the whole Cutler-Fox dynamic? Are we looking at the final games Jay Cutler will be playing for John Fox here in Chicago?
I think we are, and not necessarily because Fox is pushing him out or that relationship is broken beyond repair necessarily. I just think you look at Jay's contract, it really tells you what you need to know. It's not guaranteed beyond this season, so Jay is due $16 million in 2017. It only costs $2 million in dead money to move on from him. And as Jay enters his 100th start with the Bears on Monday night against the Vikings, he's got a record of 50-49. Look, that's a big sample size. The jury is in on Jay. And you can understand why Ryan Pace, John Fox, they're going to look for a new option at the end of the season. That's what I expect to happen at least. Now, we still have 9 games to go, though. And as you heard in some of Jay's comments that he made at his press conference on Tuesday, Fox has no choice to support him. You can read between the lines there. It was open to interpretation, and I think it's pretty clear that Jay and John are not exactly in lockstep right now. I think that could change as we go. I mean, if Jay doesn't turn the ball over, that's really what Fox is looking for. I still think that this is a lame duck situation for the quarterback position, that they're going to find a new one at the end of this season. But it's not to say it's just going to break down the rest of the way. I think they can make this work. As Jay said, they both want to win games. They're both intense competitors, and I think that it can work as long as Jay is protecting the ball.
All right, let's move on the field for the last one. Fantasy owners have not gotten a single touchdown from Alshon Jeffrey this season. Do you think the return of Cuddy will get Jeffrey in the end zone against a very angry Minnesota Vikings defense?
Yeah, if Alshon Jeffrey is on your fantasy team, you are ecstatic that Jay Cutler is coming back. And we had a chance to talk to him on Tuesday about this very subject, especially when it comes to the Bears' red zone problems. Jeffrey is such a weapon in the red zone because of his size, his length, his catch radius, and his ability to catch contested throws. And we've seen Jay play with Alshon for years now. We know the type of trust that he has in Jeffrey to catch 50-50 balls. Jay's going to give him every chance when things break down to just make a play. That was a storyline as Brian Hoyer got away from that a little bit, as Hoyer was very conservative and spoke often about his desire to go through his progressions the way plays are coached. We know Jay can go off script. He likes doing that at times. He's comfortable doing that at times. And Alshon for him represents a security blanket, especially when coverage is good. The Bears have a really tough test against the Vikings defense on Monday night, and I expect Alshon to be targeted plenty.
And like you just said, the Bears and Vikings square off on Monday night. Rich Campbell, you will be there. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
On to the association, and we're glad to report Chicago's very own Dwayne Wade and LeBron James have finally set their World Series bet. Here's Flash with details.
Here go that World Series bet everybody been waiting for. Brian, the bet is this. We're both fashion guys. We both love to dress. We both love to feel good and look good. So, whoever team loses, the loser has to show up during the NBA season to the other guy's home game dressed as a team who won. Example, if the Chicago Cubs win in December when Cleveland comes to Chicago, you have to show up when you walk into the arena dressed as a Chicago Cub, and vice versa. If the Cleveland Indians win in January when we come to town, I'll walk in dressed just like a Cleveland Indian. I had the hat on, the top and the bottom, socks, all the way down to the sneaks. All right? So that's the World Series bet. Good luck, homie.
Ooh, the stakes are high. That brings us to Sports Business Insider, presented by Elk Grove Village, Makers Wanted. As you know, LeBron and the Cavs got back to business last night. Their ceremony started with a bit of emotion. And let's get to the beautiful rings by Kay Jewelers, which, by the way, weighed in at 6.5 carats with 400 diamonds. They're set in 10-carat white gold, 14-carat yellow gold. Now that is some serious bling. Here's a closer look at the ring on the hand of Tristan Thompson, interlocked with Khloe Kardashian. We can't see their faces, but it was on Khloe's Instagram, so we'll just give her the benefit of the doubt. by the way, they're dating. The Blackhawks PK is the reason for the 3-3-1 start in 7 games. Coach Q's penalty kill has allowed 14 goals in 26 opportunity, and that has got to change.
We talk a lot about the way we're forcing up ice, how we're forcing in the neutral zone, how we're forcing entries, how we're moving together as units, the personnel changes as we've tried a number of different looks on the back end as pairs up front, trying to find something that clicks. We haven't got that confidence yet where we're comfortable with just about any pairs right now. So hopefully we can get that stabilized, and we know the importance of that influencing the outcome of games and sometimes can win a game for us, but it's been a real negative so far, and we got through 3 in a row there, and hopefully that's a start of something.
And how about this to get you in the spooky spirit? Captain Serious, or as the Instagram post says, Mr. and Mrs. Dead Serious. Who knew Jonathan Toews had the patience for that type of makeup work? This, a wonderful tandem Halloween costume. But is it better than the Stafford family? The Lions starting quarterback pictured here is Benny the Jet Rodriguez and Squints from the classic film The Sandlot. These are important questions in life, so we're going to ask it right now. Who wore their tandem Halloween costume better, Jonathan Toews or Matthew Stafford? Using the hashtag HawksTalk, we'll have some of the best responses later on in the show. On deck, we're heading into the vault. We'll relive Game 4 of the 2005 World Series. Believe me, you don't want to miss it.
SportsNet Central brought to you by Comcast Business. Comcast Business, built for business.
Did you know slow internet can actually hold your business back? Say goodbye to slow downloads, slow backups, slow everything. Comcast Business offers blazing fast and reliable internet that's 10 times faster than slow internet from the phone company. Say hello to internet speeds up to 150 megabits per second. And add phone and TV for only $34.90 more a month. Call today. Comcast Business, built for business.
You've tried bungee cords, cinder blocks, chains, and even messy sandbags, but nothing seems to work. Until now. Secure your cargo with Cargo Wrap. No matter how awkward your load, Cargo Wrap will hold it in place. For gas cans, propane tanks, even plants. Manufactured in America, in Atkinson, Illinois. Available in consumer and heavy duty. Pick up Cargo Wrap today at local retailers or online at cargowrap.com. Get it now.
My name is Jim Cornelison, and I am the national anthem singer for professional hockey in Chicago. I am in front of millions of people every time I get out on that ice. And the more I've been on camera in the last few years, I noticed, the ball patch coming in. Ultimately, I had to face the truth. I just had less hair up there.
Get your own head of thick, full hair with Restore.
The procedure is quick, it's comfortable, it's pain-free. There's no cutting, there's no stitching, and there's no linear scar. It's my own hair, it's just moved from the back to the front. I was in the morning, I was out in the afternoon.
Comb it, cut it, style it. It's your hair. You're just one call away from looking and feeling more confident.
When I walk out on the ice and I know I'm going to be on that Jumbotron, I feel good about how I look.
Call Restore today for your free consultation and get a $500 gift card. It may be the first step that changes your life forever.
Call 1-800-873-7171 or visit restorehair.com.
Everybody kept asking me the last couple of days what I did with that last ball, that last out. Well, it's going to this man right here because he earned it.
What an iconic moment. Paul Konerko handing off the championship ball to the chairman, Jerry Reinsdorf. It was 11 years ago today that the White Sox won the World Series, sweeping the Astros. In our critically acclaimed documentary, the players, the manager, and the chairman all reflect on the night they became champions.
Game 4 was a pitcher's duel, scoreless into the 8th. Jermaine Dye came to the plate with a chance to give the White Sox the lead.
I'm talking with Greg Walker,
and we're going over what Lidge has, you know, making sure I can come up with a game plan. I told him I'm going to sit on the slider. He looked at me, he goes, "What'd you say?" I said, "I'm going to sit on the slider." He goes, "You know he throws 98. I go, "Yeah, but it's usually for show, and he goes to the slider." And he's like, "If you do that, you're crazy." Finally, he gave me a slider.
Hoping that Lidge can get Jermaine Dye. That's up the middle, and the White Sox take the lead.
Just hit the ball right up the middle, and that feeling of joy kind of running through my body, and knowing that, you know, I executed something, could possibly win us the ball game, was the greatest feeling of all time.
That at-bat led to series MVP honors for Dye. But before he could collect the hardware, the White Sox had to finish off the Astros.
The catch is made by Uribe, an unbelievable grab. My goodness.
With Bobby Jenks on the mound for the fourth straight game, the White Sox completed the sweep of Houston.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmeiro over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. Juan Uribe with a play, charging it, throwing it, and the White Sox celebrate their first title in 88 years.
There wasn't one hero. There was a collection of heroes each and every day that made up our entire team, which defined our entire season. That there wasn't one hero. It's a collection of guys who stepped up and was amazing on a different day each and every day.
I don't even remember celebrating on the field because it was just like all the emotions of everything you've ever worked for all came out at one time. It was awesome.
When any kid graduates from college and you see in the stands and you look your kid taking the diploma and you just sit there, that's what I did when they win. I watched them celebration. I never feel, I don't know, I know what's happy, I know what's excited, I don't put any face. I was numb by how those guys made it.
Anytime anyone asks him, what's your best moment in baseball, that's it. Winning a World Series, but not just winning one, winning in Chicago, winning it with the White Sox, with that group of guys made it special, because those guys I still keep in touch with, almost all of them.
Yeah, I can't really describe it. It just kind of leaves you speechless. My body just was numb, and so it's like having the chills thinking about something times 10 at the moment. It's wow. For me it was everything through my whole childhood was going through my head.
One of the greatest playoff performances in baseball history. I'm not saying that we had the greatest team in baseball history, but I would put our guys' performance against anyone's out there.
For Chairman Jerry Reinsdorf, it was the elusive championship that finally became a reality.
For me, it was a deep breath, and then my attention went right to Jerry. And I think I watched him from the time, the last pitch, to the time we went down to the tunnels, and I watched him because he was like a little kid.
The Chicago White Sox won the World Series after 88 years. It just, it was amazing. It was just an amazing feeling. And it was we were all up all night long celebrating.
And now he's standing with the commissioner, and his manager, and his general manager.
and he's getting the World Series championship trophy. Wow. If you're in baseball, it never gets any better than that. That's one of the moments in your history you will never forget.
Old school baseball, and that's why the White Sox are who they are. Because the men love baseball more than anybody I never imagined.
All right.
Oh yeah.
I promised him, we're going to get this done. So to see that come to fruition, and to see he and his family, how they celebrated and the weight, I think, off of him, was very gratifying, beyond gratifying. I don't have a word to describe that.
What was that like for you, what you just experienced? I always wonder how much he weighed. That's a pretty heavy trophy.
Coming down to Chicago, the captain always wanted me to come down to see 10 landing. I ain't gonna do that. My family here now, we land, and the captain called one of the students, say, just bring Ozzy. I said, I ain't gonna do that, captain. I'm not gonna please you because we win. No, just to see this. He fly around Midway Airport, and I saw the line, and I saw the people in the street. Then I just went out. Then I couldn't stop crying. That was when I realized what we did.
It's time for Built for Business, presented by Comcast Business. Some amazing nuggets from that 05 run. The starters delivered 4 consecutive complete games in the ALCS. Paul Konerko hit the grit last Grand Slam in World Series history in Game 2. In Game 3, Jeff Blum homered in the 14th inning with Mark Burley earning the save, and the 1-0 shutout in Game 4 sealed the first White Sox World Series win since 1917. Comcast Business, built for business. When we return, it's Captain Sirius versus the quarterback of the Lions. Who wore it better? We'll get your thoughts Halloween style in just a moment.
The Blackhawk store has come to the Chicago Premium Outlets in Aurora. Visit today to find great deals on merchandise from past Winter Classics, Stadium Series games, and the 2013 and 2015 Stanley Cup Championships. Visit blackhawkstore.com for more information.
Before the recession, products were just built better. That's as simple as what it is, folks. Like this 2008 Tioga 30-footer with 2 slide-outs, only 23,000 miles, and priced now at $64,995. Brand new 2016 Four Winds 31-foot 2 slide-out Class C mini motor home. A beautiful, beautiful coach, folks. Retail sticker price $107,000. Sale price now at $84,995.
That's good.
Shabana Creek RV, Atkinson, Illinois.
Esurance does auto insurance a smarter way. They offer a claim-free discount because safe drivers cost less to insure, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call. Esurance does auto insurance a smarter way, like their photo claims tool. It helps settle your claim quickly, which saves time, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
Discovery Sport, beyond boundaries. Range Rover Evoque, beyond convention. Range Rover Sport, beyond expectations. Wherever you drive, we always take you above and beyond. The new Discovery Sport. Land Rover, above and beyond.
The high school football playoffs kick off Friday, and so does our coverage here on CSN. At 7 o'clock, we'll have one of 3 DuPage Valley West Suburban Silver matchups when 19-seed Lions visits the 14-seed Naperville North. The 8-win Huskies host their first playoff game since 2010. Lions comes in at 7-2, which includes snapping Glenbard West's 32-game conference winning streak. Earlier we asked you who wore it better, Matthew Stafford or the captain. We're of course talking about the tandem Halloween costumes of the Taves and Stafford families. Chi-Town Win 5 tweets support for Taves' outfit by writing, Stafford needs to dress his age. Felicia writes, I appreciate Stafford's subtlety, hashtag heroes never die, but gotta go with Jonathan Taves for his ingenuity / Instagram caption. Thanks to all who responded. Draymond Green and the Warriors were embarrassed in Kevin Durant's Golden State debut, and nobody is happy about it, including his mama. That story after this.
Not the most exciting dream, Pam.
Can't stop dreaming about having an extra room.
Well, this one's in a house on Realtor.com. Here. Realtor.com has more homes for sale than any other app and updates constantly. Also, why are you dreaming about doing work?
This better?
Oh, yeah. Dream home, find home, own home. Realtor.com.
Let old Count Popula take the bite out of all high car prices. The best deals can be found at Schaumburg Ford.
During our construction closeout sale, get the best incentives of the year on select 2016 models.
Be sure to see us before you buy.
Bob Rohrman.
Bob Rohrman, Schaumburg Ford, just west of the Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road, Schaumburg.
I stole from my family, my friends, loved ones, everybody, and I ended up screwing them over.
It almost cost me my life. It cost me my kids. It cost me my marriage. It cost me everything.
If this sounds like you or someone you love, then it's time to call the Addiction Recovery Network. We're an organization that cares about breaking the cycle of addiction. The Addiction Recovery Network ensures that everyone who calls receives the right treatment for them.
It's the hardest thing to do when you're on drugs is ask for help.
That's why ARN is there for anyone needing treatment for alcohol abuse, drug addiction, or dependence on prescription medications.
I think ARN is important because it allows people the chance to weed out the good from the bad for what they need.
Plus, ARN can tell you if your insurance will cover your treatment. Finding the right treatment for you is why we exist.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, the people at ARN have the solution for you.
I called. Make the free call now.
Now batting for the White Sox, center fielder number 34, Michael Bennett.
At point guard for the Chicago Bulls, number 6, Shannon Kelly.
At the Bulls Sox Academy, we give each kid one mission. Dream it, train it, be it.
Coming up on SportsNet Central tonight after Cubs postgame live, we'll head right back out to Cleveland for much more Cubs reaction from inside the clubhouse and from our Cubs postseason live team. The best World Series coverage tonight on SportsNet Central presented by GMC. In a blowout loss on Tuesday, the Spurs beat the defending champs in a 29-point victory. Kevin Durant called the shellacking a slap in the face, and he wasn't the only one who wasn't happy about the season-opening stinker. Dre Mom is, of course, Draymond Green's mom on Twitter. She was ticked off, tweeting, taking Dre out of the plays is not going to get us wins. I said it, and I don't care what y'all think. Hashtag no energy. Hashtag it's flat. Hashtag it's broke. Just going to remind you, Dre Mom, it was just the first game of the season. Thanks for joining us for SportsNet Central, presented by Comcast. Don't forget, all of your sports information is always on at csnchicago.com, and we're always here with World Series coverage.